As we hop out of the car and make our way over to the main viewing area of the gardens we'll be touring today, I already have a smile on my face, as we've immediately been greeted with these beautiful blooming lupin perennials, as well as these showy bearded iris. I'm excited to be revisiting these public gardens and share with you our hike of this area, a location of which I was last at over 40 years ago. Hey everybody, I'm Kevin, and for today's garden hike we are at the International Peace Gardens. This is a garden that was established over 90 years ago. Back in about 1932 there was a dedication of about 50,000 people to commemorate the peace of our two countries, the United States and Canada. I almost feel like I've got the place to myself. I'm a little bit surprised I was able to get some photos here without any people in them, so we'll take that. We're going to walk through and take a look at a bunch of the different annual flowering beds, lots of perennials here, trees and shrubs. This site is near the geographical center of North America, nestled in the Turtle Mountains, and all began with the donation of nearly 2,400 acres from the province of Manitoba and state of North Dakota. It's become a living garden of flowers, shrubs, and trees located on the longest unfortified border in the world. As we make our way down into the gardens referred to as the Sunken Gardens, by the way, check out that stone used on the railings and borders. I believe this native stone from the area, and as much as I love plants, I think I enjoy seeing how rocks and stone are used in landscapes and gardens just as much. Now we're here in late June, and I did find out from one of the employees that the gardens become much busier in about a month, extending into the end of summer, when the annual flowers that filled out are in full bloom. Here's one of several fountains we'll be seeing as we work our way through the area. Each year they're planted in different designs, patterns, and themes, as well as around the clock that you see here. So make sure you time your trip accordingly if flowering annuals are the main thing that you enjoy and would like to see. The International Peace Garden website has several photos that'll give you a taste of how the flower gardens look in their prime, as well as listing all the other activities available in this area, such as hiking, biking, and picnicking. Okay, we've worked our way further down into the gardens now, and isn't it amazing how much the sound of flowing water and the visual effect that a fountain has? Here's a nice group of daisies with white flowers offering a nice color contrast to the purple columnar flowering crab trees. You can see the plant material is transitioning into more flowering perennials, as well as trees and shrubs coming into play off in the distance. It's just a much more natural feel now, rather than that formal setting up in the annual flowering area. We'll take a look back at the gardens from the opposing view, looking back up. It is so peaceful and quiet out here right now. Swing around here and I can see, I can see why they need some deer protection. This is arborvitae, one of the upright varieties. Could be just the old-fashioned columnaris or the pyramidalis. And that's what the deer can do. They browse on them mostly in the winter. I think is when most of the damage occurs. Looks like they might have got after that Colorado spruce too. So nice to see that they were able to put up a fence, start protecting some of these in here. We'll cut through the gate here and see what's left to discover. That's my wife Angie, by the way. And it wasn't much of a walk before it really started to expand into this wide open space. We were determined to see what was at the end of this sidewalk, so we put it in high gear for this next stretch. I realized I hadn't mentioned yet that one of the other main reasons we came to the Peace Gardens today was to check out the cacti and succulent collection that's on site. Yeah, it's an indoor greenhouse collection with over 5,000 varieties. We'll make our way back to that area in just a bit after we visit what has turned out to be a peace chapel. Stored here is a collection of memorable quotes by world leaders on peace and the fragile nature of that peace. So far, I've really enjoyed how the whole area has transitioned from that more formal garden area into natural areas, and then these wide open spaces with great views of the whole area. As we worked our way back, we came across these old-fashioned roses growing next to this stream and small waterfall. I always enjoy being around older conifers like these spruce that we discovered. I can't help but wonder if these were planted as seedlings back in the early days when they were breaking ground. Here's a bed with some peonies that have just started to bloom and some bearded iris that will be finishing up soon. And this was a nice place to pause next to this large wildflower bed showcasing dozens of different perennials. with those lupine flowers, those elongated spikes, once again stealing the show. I haven't found many plants labeled today, but I did find one on these purple spire rosy bloom flowering crab apples. They're being used to border the sidewalks in various areas, and I really like the effect that they create. As we got closer to the conservatory that houses the cacti collection, these large native cottonwood trees were providing some nice shade for this woodland garden where many nice hosta varieties are growing. As you can see, we have reached the conservatory, home of the cacti collection I mentioned earlier. This is one of the newest and most visited buildings on site, home to one of the world's most diverse indoor collections of cacti and succulents. It's named for Don Vitko, who during a 50-year period collected over 5,000 varieties of cacti and succulents before donating it to the Peace Gardens. I had a great time down in Arizona. We went to the Arboretum there, just outside of Mesa, and looked at a lot of different cacti, succulent. Did a video on that if you like this type of plant. It was real new to me. I think that was the longest it ever took me to do a video because I didn't know the plant materials. I had to do looking up a lot of different things. Look at some of these. People told me that this was incredible in here, and they were not kidding. Look at all these different succulents. This collection is really well presented here and was very enjoyable to explore, and it's become a year-round destination for visitors. Highly recommend you see this. I mentioned at the beginning of the video I was here some 40 years ago while attending International Music Camp, which is located about a mile or so from here. Here's an old photo I dug out of one of my albums where you can see just behind me how much the gardens have changed and matured since then. Yeah, where does the time go? So if you love plants and you love to stroll through different public gardens, the International Peace Gardens is a great place to visit. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike. I appreciate it. We'll see you again next video.